All right, so buckle up because today's deep dive is going to be a wild one. We're going deep on the Sean Diddy Combs case, but this isn't about the music. It's about the serious accusations against him.
And these aren't just, rumors or tabloid fodder. We're talking federal charges of potentially decades in prison.
Yeah, this is serious stuff. And at the center of it all is this term, freak off, which, I'll be honest, the first time I saw it, I thought it was like a joke, but it's not.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics.
Not a joke at all. It's straight from the legal documents, the indictment, even civil lawsuits. And it gives us this, unsettling glimpse into what was allegedly going on.
So help us understand, when they say freak off in these documents, what are they actually talking about?
The indictment describes them as, and I'm quoting here, elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs allegedly arranged, directed, even recorded.
Okay, so already that paints a pretty vivid picture. But I'm guessing there's more to it legally, right?
Yeah.
What makes that significant?
You've got it. It's the level of planning, the control that's alleged here that's really important. This wasn't just, a casual encounter. This points to a pattern of behavior.
And that's where it starts tying into those bigger charges, right?
Yeah.
Not just about the acts themselves, but how they allegedly happened.
Exactly. The indictment, it lays out the system allegedly designed to pressure and manipulate people. Like, it mentions staff being used to book rooms, get drugs, ketamine, GHB. They even talk about arranging IV drips afterwards.
IV drips? Like, wow, that's intense.
It points to, I think, a real effort to not just make these freak-offs happen, but to manage the aftermath, keep things quiet. And it's that system, that network of complicity that's at the heart of the racketeering charges.
So we're starting to see how these freak-offs connect to the bigger legal picture. But what about the alleged victims? What are we learning about their experiences?
And this is where things get really disturbing. The indictment alleges Combs used his power, his influence, to coerce people, often under the guise of, a romantic relationship, promises of career help, or even threats of financial ruin.
So it's this power imbalance, right? The fame, the money being used to manipulate and control.
Precisely. And it goes beyond just words. There are allegations of violence, physical assault, to force participation, or punish those who resisted.
And there is evidence of this alleged violence, isn't there? I'm thinking of that 2016 incident mentioned in the documents.
Right. The indictment describes this incident where Combs allegedly assaulted someone trying to leave one of these freak-offs. And this wasn't something hidden. Allegedly, it was caught on camera at a hotel.
And if I'm remembering right, wasn't there an attempt to cover it up?
Exactly. Allegedly, Combs tried to bribe the security guard to stay quiet, and when that didn't work, supposedly, he had his staff interfere, try to make the footage vanish, and within days, it was gone.
Makes you wonder how anyone thought they could get away with that. But I guess when you're used to a certain level of power, right?
Yeah.
And this alleged control, it wasn't just about the freak-offs themselves, was it? It extended to his whole circle, at least according to the accusations.
Yeah, that's a really important point. The indictment, it doesn't just focus on what Combs did directly. Tons. Court documents. They say the FBI, they took over 90 devices, phones, computers, you name it. Plus, a crazy amount of what they're calling freak-off supplies. We're talking narcotics. And thousands of bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
Thousands. I mean, that's almost comical in a dark way. Like, it's hard to even picture that.
It definitely suggests this wasn't just, a few casual things here and there. This was organized. And then there's those hotel receipts, remember that one, for $46,000 in damages. Hard to explain that away.
No kidding. Those details, they really make it real. Makes you wonder about the other people involved. What did they know? Were they scared of Combs, loyal to him, hoping to get something out of it? What makes someone go along with that?
And those are questions I'm sure the prosecution will be asking as they build their case. They've already done interviews, over 50 victims and witnesses, and that number could easily go up. It often does in these high-profile cases. Once things start coming out, more people come forward.
Which, of course, brings up a whole other set of questions, right?
Yeah.
Who gets offered deals to cooperate? Whose stories are believed and whose are brushed aside?
You got it. That's a huge part of this. And really, any case where you've got this kind of power dynamic, it's not just the evidence itself, it's how that evidence is seen, who gets to control the story.
Which I think is a good reminder that this case isn't just about Sean Combs, right? It's about a system where these imbalances of power are allowed to exist, even thrive. The music industry, entertainment, even society as a whole, really.
I think that's exactly right. This case, it's a spotlight on consent, on coercion, especially with fame and fortune thrown into the mix. Makes us confront some uncomfortable truths about how power works and the systems that keep those imbalances in place.
And those are conversations that need to happen regardless of what happens in the specific case.
Absolutely. Combs could be found guilty, not guilty, whatever. The allegations themselves should be enough to make us really look at these issues.
It's really kind of like we're getting this, I don't know, peek behind the curtain, and not just into one man's life, but like a whole system that maybe allegedly allows this to go on.
And that's what makes this case so important, you know? Even if you, take away all the celebrity gossip stuff, it raises these huge questions about how we define consent, how we protect people, and how we actually hold powerful people accountable, you know what I mean?
For sure. We've talked about the system, the evidence, the witnesses, all that. But there was this one detail that really stuck with me. Something about just, like, how bold it all was.
You're talking about how, allegedly, even after his lawsuits, even after the FBI raids, Combs just kept going. The prosecution claims he kept having these freak-offs.
Yeah, like he knew he was being investigated, but allegedly just kept doing it.
That's, I don't even know, kind of brazen, right?
It definitely makes you think, right? That level of confidence, almost like he thought he was untouchable. Which, by the way, is exactly what the prosecution is using to argue he should stay locked up.
Right. His bail was denied, what, twice now? That's not common?
Nope. And that second time, that was after Combs appealed. So a whole other judge looked at the same stuff and said, yeah, no bail. So we're left with this picture, right? This guy, accused of using everything he has to control and exploit people. And allegedly, he didn't stop, even when he knew the law was after him.
It's a story that should make us all take a hard look at ourselves, you know, at the systems that make this kind of thing possible. The entertainment industry, yeah, but honestly, it goes way beyond that. Fame, fortune, it can distort things, create these situations where lines get blurred, power gets abused.
And like you said, it's bigger than celebrities, right? It's about all of us. Makes you think about consent, coercion in every part of life.
We all have a part to play in changing things, creating a world where everyone feels safe, respected, and able to speak up if something's wrong, no matter who's doing it.
This whole thing, it's heavy stuff. But these conversations, they need to happen, you know, even when they're tough. Because staying quiet, that just protects the people who are doing the harming.
100%. Shining a light on this, demanding better, that's the only way forward. For ourselves, for each other, for anyone who might be vulnerable to this kind of abuse.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with this. What can each of us do in our own lives to challenge these power imbalances, to stand up for consent, to create a world where this just isn't tolerated? It's a question worth, well, sitting with, and more importantly, acting on.